Hi there, I'm going to be really quick. Here's some little bit of information for you. There is a bit of lag on my camera, so I do apologize that in advance. I can't figure out how to stop it. So first of all, I would like to say, please subscribe to my channel down below. That big red subscribe button will subscribe you to my channel for more videos like this one. And if you wanted to see the last video from this, you can do by clicking on the last video tab right there. That will take you to the last video that I have ever produced. And of course, if you want to have this for audio only and have it on your iTunes, you can do by clicking that link, that annotation down below right there. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm sure I'm going to make another one of these videos at the very end of the video. It is an hour long and it is audio only, so I do apologize about that. We haven't got video yet, but we will do soon or later, depending. I don't know really. See you later. Right, this is the weekly podcast. Enjoy. Welcome to the weekly podcast, episode number 6. This week, me and Jahson sit down and chat with Jason Horton. He's a fellow YouTuber and podcaster with over 120,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel, Jason Horton, and over 109,000 listeners to his podcast, Friends Without Benefits. You can go and check them both out today by going onto the iTunes store and searching Jason Horton, Friends Without Benefits. You'll be able to see the interviews with All Time Low and Shane Dawson and Jack's Films. He's on there. There's loads of different people on there that I love to listen to. So definitely go and check out his podcast there. And definitely go over to his YouTube channel, Jason Horton, in the YouTube search. And you'll be able to find him on there. And he does a videos series like Facebook in real life, which I find incredibly funny. So go over there, check him out there today. He was really great. I do really enjoy sitting down and having chat conversations with people, but Jason Horton was really great to sit down and chat with. We do actually talk a lot about YouTube. I do apologize that in advance. I am a bit addicted to YouTube at the moment, so I was asking him every little nitty gritty question you could possibly think of about YouTube and how you could get started and all that sort of stuff. So that's all in the interview as well. We also talk a bit about gaming, and at the end a bit about Star Wars, so definitely stick around till the end. He's a fantastic guy, and I really was glad that we were able to sit down and have a chat and conversation with him. So yes, please go and find him and subscribe to him and follow him. You can follow us on Twitter right now over on the Weekly Cast. Just tweet us at WeeklyCast. That is the official Twitter for the weekly podcast. Go and search it today and click that follow button. It's all greatly appreciated. That's the main port of call for all these latest podcasts and all the guests that are coming out. I post it a week in advance. You can also find us on SoundCloud now. You can go and search us on there. Search for Weekly UK on SoundCloud, and you'll be able to find the weekly podcast on there, and you will be able to see all the episodes coming out. I don't know whether or not I'm going to upload them more regularly or not, but they go out on iTunes before they go on SoundCloud, so definitely go into the iTunes store first to check them out there before anywhere else. So this is our conversation with Jason Horton. Enjoy. So how was your Thanksgiving?
It was fine. Yeah, it was pretty low key. Nothing too Hollywood and exciting. How about you guys?
No, I don't celebrate it because I'm in the UK, and I don't know about you, Jahson. Did you do anything?
No. I was browsing for Black Friday because I think that's today.
Yeah, Black Friday is today.
Stuff. But yeah, I couldn't buy anything because they don't post over here. So,
oh really?
I could have got an Xbox for $10, but I can't now.
I mean, Black Friday for us, because where my university is, there is a big like shopping center, like a mall or something like that. It's just like loads of the traffic. Just there was cars everywhere, people running in the shops, and it was chaos this morning. What's it like for you?
For me, it's. I mean, it starts pretty early every year, and just people line up and camp out in front of stores, and but a lot happens online now, which I guess kind of. I mean, I don't know if it just adds to it or takes away from people actually going to stores, but it's pretty crazy. I'm sure there'll be videos on YouTube in the coming days, kind of showcasing that.
I remember like the past years, there used to be people dying because of stampedes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not worth it.
And it used to get crazy. Americans really like their shopping.
I mean, there was stampedes and stuff in Asda this year, which is basically like. Asda and Walmart are basically the same company. I think Walmart bought Asda or Asda bought Walmart. I don't know how that worked out. But basically they said this year we're not going to do Black Friday. We disagree with it basically. They're like, because of all the fights over plasma screen TVs, etc. So I was like, oh. I'm like, that's the closest thing near me. So I was like, ah. So you recently posted a new video called Sex Toy Unboxing. Can you explain a little bit about that?
So, so it's that admittedly is just a brand deal video, sponsored video. The only reason I put up that video, but I did my absolute best to make it as entertaining and authentic as possible. So I try to keep that within that, but that is what it is. And frankly, I have like a lot of Christmas-based video. I have a couple of Christmas-based videos that are coming out. That I shot at the YouTube Space LA, and that takes a while to edit, so it kind of, I guess, bridges the gap of videos before those go out. There'll be another Facebook in Real Life holiday edition, and then another kind of Christmas-based sketch that'll be coming out. Both be coming out in December. It just takes a long time to edit because they're shot on C300 cameras, and there's just a lot of shots and a lot of editing. So, and my editor is doing that now. So, so that for now, that's, you get what you get.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do when you do your YouTube? Do you schedule out? Do you have like a backlog of videos that you have, and then you say, okay, this video is coming out at this point at this time, and just have a catalog of videos that you know that are going to come out that you've been doing later on in the year or earlier on in the year?
I mean, that ideally, that's what I do. But, lately, like, my priorities kind of shift a lot. And then, it used to be like, I need to get a video every week, which is a great practice. But if I don't have it, I don't have it. And that's just the way that it is, I guess. But ideally, I would love to. Like, I have a kind of Q&A type video that's in the queue, I guess, right now, but I would like to. I'd like to, if I shoot things, I like to shoot a couple of videos and then stockpile them. But right now I have one, but I'm waiting to put that out because the girl that I did it with, she wants to put hers out at the same time. There's actually two people that I did it with, so we don't want to put them out at the same time. So I'm kind of just waiting on them. But right now, like, because I do so many different things, it's like videos go up when they go up, and I really try to only put things up that I really want to put up, whether it's a branded video or just a video that I want to put up. And that's kind of where I'm at as far as YouTube is concerned.
So what's the deal with Fullscreen then?
Mm-hmm. Fullscreen is a MCN, a multi-channel network that kind of, in a way, sort of manages like a lot of YouTube channels in a bunch of different ways. And the ad money kind of filters through them, and then they they kind of manage your channel and do various things. But really, it's 95% me, I guess. So they're just like a network that you can kind of lean on, depending on your needs, and they take a percentage of your ad revenue.
And would you say for a new YouTuber joining, would you say to start joining an MCM straight away, or do you think they should wait a little while before joining?
I mean, I can argue for and against MCNs in a bunch of different ways. If you're just starting out, it's completely unnecessary. It's kind of like, oh, you want to drive a race car, and you don't have the car, or a license, but like you feel the need to go out and buy the driving gloves, like it's just like really kind of putting. I don't know if it's a bad analogy, but it's this thing where it's like it's not really going to help you because you don't even really have an audience to kind of to need someone to represent you. So it really should all be about you kind of building an audience and creating great stuff. And then, there'll be a time that'll come that I think it is definitely worthwhile. But I feel like people think, I make YouTube videos, therefore I'll have an audience. I make YouTube videos, therefore I will make money. I have a YouTube, channel, therefore I need an MCN. And then when I have the MCN, I'll make even more money and more connections. And it's frankly just not true. That's, if that was true, then literally everyone would be very, very, very successful. And everyone would be in the top 10, I guess, in that sense. So I say no to that answer. Is the short answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, like I joined Fullscreen. I joined Fullscreen a couple of weeks ago. I think I was with them for about a month or so. I think. Okay. And one of the problems that I had was that I was trying to set up the whole point of I run a group called Weekly. And the whole point of Weekly is to be like I don't know if you're aware of Yogscast.
Yes.
It's like like a YouTube umbrella sort of network, sub-network. There's all sort of like friendly people online that have all connected together. That's sort of what I want Weekly to be. And I was with them and I basically said this idea. I said, this is what I want to do. Is there any way of you helping me? And they turned around saying, at this time, we can't really do this. So I was a bit disappointed, but hopefully in the future they will be more open to working with us. But I feel like the tools in Fullscreen, like you get there's like a music panel and stuff, isn't there? There's editing help and thumbnail support as well, which is all the plus sides of things that I've seen.
Oh, absolutely. It's there's definitely a lot of different things. I mean, it's good that they were kind of honest with you with what they can and can't do. And I think, realistically, it's you got to kind of on your own. It's weird. It's like, you need one thing to get the other, but how do you get the other thing if you can't? It's like a catch-22. But, it's on you to really kind of give them something to make you a priority.
Yeah.
To come. Yeah. And I think that should always be the goal, to be like, listen, I've already done the majority of the work. Do you want to now hop onto something successful and help me make it more successful? And frankly, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I know it sounds kind of crappy, but like realistically, like how else is a business supposed to run?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, if I was them and Fullscreen was coming to me and saying, this is what I want to do, I'm like, well, you've got no evidence of you being successful yet. So at the moment, we don't really want to support you because you don't have that following that we crave or we need to sort of boost up our own network. So it's sort of like you help us and we help you sort of thing. I guess that's the way it works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like you said, like if you were in their shoes, you probably would say the same thing. And also, a lot of people start things that they cannot finish. And that's not. Unfortunately, a few people ruin it for the rest in that sense. So I think the fact that even if you have a little longevity in what you're doing, that kind of shows that like, I've been doing this for X amount of time. Because plenty of people start things and they have these big dreams, like I'm going to do this and that, and then when they realize it's like, I'm not instantly famous or instantly satisfied in the way I want to be, I'm just going to stop doing it. So that's the case sometimes too.
So because excuse me, I've got a few YouTubers that have just joined Weekly and they're fairly new, and one of them does like fail videos. Mm-hmm. And so they take videos from other people, which I'm a little bit concerned about. But they take videos from other people and are using them in their video. I don't know what you call it, but they basically compile it into a one video form. And he's contacted, or she contacted, a number of different people who he took the videos from. And they've all said, no, we don't want this, and have flagged the videos and basically pulled them all down. And I was basically trying to be as nice as possible by saying, well, you're taking other people's content. Why would they let you monetize and make money from their content, if you know what I mean? So I was like, the question I really wanted to ask you was, with a new YouTube channel, should you have adverts at the very start of doing the YouTube, or should you wait a little bit before monetizing your channel?
I've been doing YouTube for, kind of like, I've had the channel I'm on now, I've had since for 5 years, and I still, I don't get greedy with turning on ads, especially if it's like a brand new video, because realistically, I just have a very like humble view of what people think of me, because I just assume there's a lot of videos people can watch. There's a lot of options out there, and I don't assume that everyone wants to watch what I have to offer. So I try to do as many things as possible to take down as many barriers as I can, so people will want to watch my stuff, especially people who don't know who I am and they stumble on and they go, oh, I'll watch this video. And then if the first thing they see is a 30-second ad that they can't skip from, and they don't know who you are, their options are endless. So they'll just be, and I've done this before, I'll be like, you know what, bye. If somebody wants to see a prank video or a sketch comedy video or a video about how to make a computer, you're not the only option out there. You want to be the only option out there, but you're not. So I actually, MCNs probably don't like to hear this, but I'm very I don't get crazy with ads on my videos. Now, what I will do is, if I see the video is doing well and it has a nice trajectory, I will turn all those things on, and people argue, it doesn't do it necessarily for every single video every single time. So even if you do that, it's not always going to be this barrier. But for me, it's like, I want people to watch what I made more than I do want to make a few extra bucks or a few extra pennies, depending on your situation. So I definitely advise against it. It's almost kind of like, if you have a new thing or a new kind of show and you have no audience and nobody knows who you are, and the first thing you do is want to charge them a lot of money for it, why would you do that? You should be giving it away first.
Exactly.
And get them
the way I was thinking about doing it, I was like, because I've got a YouTube channel that hasn't really been, it's sort of been there but hasn't really been doing too well, and I haven't really been uploading anything to it. And I thought I'll go back to it, and I'm thinking, well, there's a guy that's joined weekly. He's the same guy who did the fail videos and stuff, and he said, okay, I'm going to do 1 month of basically videos every single week, but with no adverts on it, just so they know who I am before then turning it on to see if I can generate any money and stuff. Well, anyway, I kind of looked at that idea and I thought, hang on a minute, that's actually could be the key, because when you look at YouTube, originally when YouTube was first created, there wasn't any advertisements, so people were doing it for the love of it. And if you love something, then surely you're going to be successful with that subject because you love doing what you're doing. And I mean, you've basically put the nail on the head with what you say, and say, this is what I do, and that's the way I want to do it. With your podcast, Friends Without Benefits, how long have you been doing that for?
Friends Without Benefits, I believe I started that. Actually, Fullscreen is the one who kind of encouraged me to do it. And that might have been March of this year or May of this year or April. Or the conversation started in like March or April, and then we put up the first episode in May. But I had one that I did for about a year or so before that, called Two White Guys podcast, that we did. I did that when I was at Maker Studios and on my own. That was pretty successful. It was on my YouTube channel, which was successful on there. But when I did it again, I was like, well, I don't want this to like cost me money to make. I wanted this to be kind of effortless on my part. So I started doing it with Fullscreen, and SoundCloud is where I originally hosted it, and they kind of featured me, and then I for some reason was like on the front page or whatever. So like now I have like 110,000 followers on SoundCloud, which is like more than anything else that I know. It's just like a very like, I didn't really ask for it. And then so I was doing it at Fullscreen. Like I did some episodes also at VidCon this year. I did it live at VidCon. And then as of a couple of months ago, maybe June, it was pretty quick, a podcast network, I started working with them. So now they produce it. Like they have a huge studio. And I go in there, and there's nice couches and nice equipment. There's an engineer, and they kind of do it all for me. I just kind of will sometimes get my own guests if I want my own guests, and do a little promotion. And now, like, iTunes is like really what I'm pushing, because some episodes will have sponsors, or episodes will be sponsored. So like iTunes is the metrics they look at. So yeah, I've been doing it and putting up one almost every single week since May. So far so good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to a number of your podcasts, including the one with All Time Low.
Yeah.
They were, I wouldn't say they were, they are my favourite band at the moment. And I listen to their music, especially with Justin Bieber as well. I listen to their music while I do my coding, because I'm a web design student. So I sit there and I'm listening to their music, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can figure out what this box is not doing and things like that. And I was listening to the podcast with you, with them, and talking about the Full Frontal podcast. And I like how relaxed the podcast was, and how it was sort of like they were making jokes and you were making jokes, and it was an easy listen. So yeah, I really enjoy your podcast, by the way. So.
Thank you. Yeah, well, here for me is anyone could do an interview, and I'm sure a lot of these people, especially, the guests I get on are mostly pretty. I mean, I consider them all very successful, and some are very successful. And have done like quite a lot of press and stuff like that. And they can get an interview anywhere. I don't do much research. If I know them, I know them. But there's the people that I think I know well, I learned something new. I really want it to be like a conversation, and like what kind of I'm kind of learning and discovering, and not reading off some sheet. Like I'll do a little bit just to have like a couple of points I want to hit. To kind of make sure the conversation is moving, but I don't like to prepare too much. I don't like to think too much about it, and I don't like to make it too serious. And I also do like make it like I make it about me, but not. I'm not like really making it about me, but I make these kind of like I just make the kind of the conversation where I like in a self-deprecating way make it about myself. But yeah, they're really great guys. They have their podcast. Full Frontal is on the same network as mine, so that's how we connected. And then I went and saw them. They did their podcast live at the Hollywood Improv, which is owned by the podcast network. So I went, and it was myself, and I'm probably, aside from maybe some people that worked for the theater and for the podcast, but I was probably one of the oldest people there, just sitting amongst, like, right in the front. I had my own like seat amongst a bunch of like 18 to like 24-year-old girls, really really super cool guys, really nice, really down to earth, and I only knew one song of theirs previous to that, so I wasn't like a huge fan. But it's like when a band does a podcast, I'm like, why? Like, don't you have?
Yeah.
Like, I think I said the thing. I was like, don't you already have enough? Like, can you just leave something for the rest of us? But I just thought it was just interesting enough for me to see why they would do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think that's quite a cool concept, because they're the first and only band that I know that have this band that they do and are massively successful with it, and then they have a podcast that is also successful, doing something completely different, and they're two very different things. I mean, I really enjoy listening to Full Frontal. They used to do live broadcasts. I think they still do it, but I've really stopped listening to them. But they used to do live shows, and the stuff they talk about, and they used to get callers in, and the stuff that people were saying down the phone to them, and the way that they were answering it was a very comedic way, which is something that I wasn't quite expecting from a band's point of view. So yeah. I mean, you do stand up, don't you? Do you do stand up?
I don't.
No, you do improv, don't you?
Improv and sketch. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Apologies.
No, it's just everyone. It's always, they're just like, oh yeah. Everyone just assumes that I do stand up. And I've written some, and I've done some in a kind of as like a character. But I don't do. I mean, I might. I don't know. I like to do things that involve other people. Like, I really don't like to make it about myself. Like, even when it comes to YouTube or anything. Yeah. So just sketch and improv.
Yeah. So improv is very different to stand-up comedy, isn't it? So you do sketches, and it's basically you have a number of people. Is there a number of people? How does improv actually work?
I mean, it's like little groups, and it's just kind of like a different like groups or teams or whatever you want to call it, and they just get up, get up there and like make something out of nothing, really truly out of nothing. And sketches, it's a lot, before I was doing YouTube, I mean, the things that turned into YouTube videos were things that I either did live on stage first, or they were ideas that came from me doing improv, like something funny would come from it, and then I would be like, oh, that would make a funny video. Yeah.
I mean, like, I really I listened to a podcast called the Nerdist podcast. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Yeah.
But the guy who hosts it, Chris Hardwick, he does improv and he runs shows like that. And he has like a game show called At Midnight, which I've never been able to see.
Yes.
And that's basically an improv show in theory, is what I was getting from what they're saying. And I find that funnier than stand-up comedian telling some jokes, and I don't know if you're the same.
Well, I'm not like a huge fan of stand-up. I mean, I like it. There's some that I've watched I really love, but generally speaking, like I don't go see a lot of it, or it's not really a huge part of like what inspires me or influences me. But I mean, I kind of like, I don't know, I just like stuff with with a group of people more than just focus on one person.
Yeah, let's talk about Funny or Die.
Okay.
So what happened? What is Funny or Die?
As far as I know, it's a video site. And Will Ferrell, it's his and whoever else's runs Funny or Die, and they they're kind of like a comedy. They're like they're niche in the sense of compared to YouTube, which is very like broad. But it's a little bit of a celebrity based thing too sometimes. But it's a very like niche comedy. Video set, but you can upload your own stuff there. They create their own stuff. I've done originals with them. I've had a lot of my things featured on there. I've gotten a lot of views. But also it's kind of on a voting thing, like Funny or Die. In fact, was it the show Tosh.0 found a video I made on Funny or Die, even though it only had like maybe like 100 views on Funny or Die, and it had like thousands on YouTube, but they found it on Funny or Die. And so you just never know where people are going to find stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I don't really, for me, it's like I don't really get much out of it except for like, oh, I saw you on Funny or Die, so like some kind of brand awareness. But it's not monetized. It really doesn't drive traffic anywhere else for me anyway. And honestly, if they're not going to feature me, like I don't really see a point in me. Even though I have people that like I've gotten like 10, 15 million views on there, something like that. I don't know, something like that. But it really hasn't really translated to anything else for me. So I really don't put my energy towards it because I really have no motivation to do so.
Do you read all your comments?
I used to be amazing at actually not only reading, but reading and answering, responding to all my comments if it required. And now I really do look at a good amount of them. Like I say at least like 80%. Some of the videos get a lot of comments, but it's usually a lot of back and forth in like an inflammatory way between other people. Like really it has nothing to do with me anymore. It's there's just certain videos that nobody's like pressing anything to me. It's them just responding to each other. So those I really don't look at that much. But like within an 80% success rate, I try to answer or respond to or just acknowledge as many as I can. It just it gets the more videos you put out over more amount of time, it becomes a lot. But I really wish I could. Like I want to be thankful like that somebody is taking the time to say, hey, I like this, or even if they're just have a question. Sometimes people are just saying something like hateful, and sometimes I'll respond to that, usually with something hopefully diffusing.
Yeah. I mean, what is your funniest comment that you've ever found? Has anybody sent you something that you think is so funny that you've never really thought about it before and thought, hang on a minute, that's actually quite good?
There's one that I laugh at. I mean, I guess I don't know if you is this. I mean, it's not that. Well, I'll just tell you what it is. It says, "This video sucks all the male assholes." So I've always, for some reason, and this is from probably a couple of years ago, and I don't know why, but I thought that was so funny, and maybe they were right too. I don't know. I don't know about all of them. I mean, there's a lot out there, but the fact that they were kind of creative in that sense, the ones that I think are the funniest are the ones that are obviously negative towards me. Because the ones that are, the ones that are nice are they're really super nice and really super cool, and people say really great, they're like, oh, I was having a bad day and I watched your videos, and I, obviously I want more of that than telling me how much I suck. But people are really funny online. Like, people are really, really, really funny, especially in comments and on message boards, with Tumblr or Reddit or whatever it is. So I really respect that, even if it's at my detriment.
Do you think that new YouTubers or old YouTubers should be focusing their attention on the people that are commenting to their videos?
Yeah, I mean, in a couple of ways. Well, one, if you're not getting negative comments, then you're not reaching enough people. If I go home, and visit my family in New York, I have a pretty big family. Even in that sense, I'll have my at least one of my sisters or two kind of making fun of me. So I think you need to reach enough people to get at least a mixed thing of comments, because you could show 10 of your friends and they all or your family, and they could all be super supportive, but you want to reach more people. Also, it does kind of like you kind of learn what people like and they don't like, and there might be somebody who's like, this is my favorite video, and there's somebody's like, ew, this video sucks, take it down. You can't, obviously you can't live by those rules, because every video would be up and every video would be removed. But it does, if a lot of people are saying the same thing, they can't all be wrong. Or if people are like, oh, I really like when oh, I'm glad when you bringing this back, and you get that, like, it kind of informs you, but you also can't, like, there's a certain part of me that's like, well, there's things I want to put out, and this is the reason that I'm doing this, and I don't care who likes it or doesn't. But a lot of times, like, I'll do things that kind of cater to what I think people would like, because that's why they're there.
Yeah, I mean, I started YouTube. I've got an original channel, and then I started the weekly channel, and I found that I said to my girlfriend, who's wanted to do YouTuber too, and I said, basically, just look at it as, don't listen to really read the comments, but don't really look at the comments too much. Don't take it to heart, because when you take it to heart, then you're going to get offended by what people are saying. And sometimes you can actually take the negative comments and go, okay, this person didn't like this video, and then find out more, because then that's your criticism, and then you can then make a better video next time round, and it works both ways, I guess.
Yeah. You have to have a thick skin, and some days you're stronger than others. Some days you're just like, I just can't deal with it, and some days you can deal with it. I mean, it's like, if you've ever looked at a news article on Facebook and looked at the comments, it could really, really rile you up, whether it has anything to do with you or not. So I guess it really just kind of depends on the mood you're in, because we're all human and we all have our kind of limits. But yeah, I think general comments are, and frankly, like, the more comments and engagement you get on your video, the better for your video. So if I had a choice between getting like a negative comment or no comment, I'll take the negative comment, because there's just more engagement in the video, and then the video is something that Google or YouTube or the search algorithms are going to say, oh, this video is being talked about, so in the search we should make this video higher up, as opposed to one that doesn't have any of that engagement. So there's also that. Yeah,
I mean, I really agree with that. I think that having positive, if you have positive comments all the time, then you pretty much have a lot of people that are basically fake, or you feel like they are fake. They're not really. They're basically, they like your yes men, and you're sort of putting stuff out there, and they're going, yeah, it's fantastic, and then you're not improving, and you're not getting any bigger. So if you have got a few negative comments, you can actually utilize that to make yourself bigger, or if you want to sort of like practice different methods and different ways. And of course, YouTube is at the very start. You're not going to make a viral video straight away, are you? You're going to take your time to learn what the service is and how to go about it. And so what was your first YouTube video?
You know, I know the first one I did that was like kind of in the YouTube world was a video for Totally Sketch, which is something that I came a part of, and that's what people knew me from. And you know, for years we did that, and now it's a little bit not as frequent. I think we did a behind the scenes. It was a True Hollywood Story parody of Keyboard Cat. I believe it was. So that was the first one. I think that like I consider like in the YouTube world that I was in, but I didn't have a channel. I don't think I had a channel then or anything like that. I was just kind of doing it as an actor. And I did quite a few videos with a lot of YouTubers, not really knowing much about YouTube. So I think that was the first one.
So talk about the Facebook in real life. Does Facebook sometimes annoy you?
I honestly love Facebook in the sense that like I think it's super powerful. You know, some people think it's maybe a little too powerful, but it's something that really I think kind of unifies a bunch of age gaps, generations, you know, that everyone in some way is a part of. And yes, obviously there's a lot of things that are like really super annoying. But I almost like that. Like I think I you know, secretly like I really like to cringe at certain things. But when I made Facebook in real life, it was a calculated move in the sense that like I was like, well, you know, making sketch comedy is an uphill battle. It's very you know, people on YouTube don't really like, especially in the community world, don't love sketch comedy unless it's like a parody or you know, something that's relating something that's going on right now, or like kind of music, you know, video parody or something. But I'm like, well, how do I make something that I think people will share and blogs will pick up, that doesn't cost a lot of money, is sort of like a sketch but not as complicated as a sketch? So I made Facebook in real life for that reason. I made it because I was like, well, people like Facebook and people like list videos and people can relate, and I think blogs would want to pick it up. So I did it as an experiment, and it was very successful. I was on, you know, a lot of blogs that I'd never been on before, MTV.com and Hello Giggles and Bustle, and like a lot of sites that would never ever carry my stuff. You know, Huffington Post, I've been on Huffington Post, but they really picked this up pretty quickly. It was I think picked up by a couple of ones that needed to be translated, like in Poland, and it was on a TV show right this minute. A clip of it was on there, so it was a successful endeavor. But I really made it as an experiment. So I just kept making more. Like the first two I shot the same day, and just swapped out the people. And then I made another one, and then I have another one coming out, and it's all starting to be they're all kind of starting to blend together. Like, but you know, I'm different. You know, this new one I have a lot of you know, YouTube people, and I have I don't know if you're familiar with the Paranormal Activity movies. Those, yeah. So the girl who plays Katie, who's the main girl in it, you know, she's in the first and second and third, but then, you know, she just kind of comes and goes in the rest of them. So she's in it. She was on my podcast as well. So I was like, oh, do you want to be in a video? And then I have a bunch of really cool YouTubers in it, and people that are like popular on Instagram, and so I really kind of, you know, switched it up a little bit to get a, you know, different cross section of people, and different jokes and stuff like that. So that'll be coming out before Christmas.
That would be really, really cool, because I mean, I must admit to you now that I had spent many a night sat there watching your YouTube videos, just before I go to bed, because I was like, I need to find out more information about you, because I'm a bit like you. I don't really write down any notes. I used to when I first started doing the podcast, and I was like, well, I actually don't like reading off questions, because I'm sat there reading a bit of paper, and obviously I don't read very well. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. I thought I'll just sit here and watch some of your videos, because I found you through your podcast. Okay, great. And I was watching your videos, and it's very easy when watching your stuff. I can go from one video to the next video to the next video, and still get the same amount of buzz that I've wanted. You know, you go on YouTube to crave something, like you want to make someone laugh, and you make me laugh.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad somebody came from. It's interesting. Like, it's a different. Getting people from YouTube, I think, to the podcast is not as easy in the sense that a lot of people that do watch YouTube, it's like the podcasting, like the infrastructure is a lot different. Like, they're not really used to like consuming that way. Even though a lot more YouTubers are doing podcasts, Grace Helbig, Tyler Oakley, and Jenna Marbles, and a bunch of really cool people. But still, overall, it's a little more difficult to get people from YouTube to the podcast. But I'm glad the podcast got you to my YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that I came from your podcast because I really enjoy your podcast. And I came over and I was like, let's have a look at your YouTube channel. I was thinking, oh, your podcast is pretty cool. I'll go and have a look at your YouTube channel. And then I saw your YouTube channel. I was like, oh my God, that's really quite cool. I like this. And I like the subtle humor that you put into your videos as well. There's some bits that are quite there. And then there's some bits that you're like, hang on a minute, he's just made a joke. And I'm like,
yeah. It's not really like a sledgehammer as far as humor. But I also like, in everything I do, I try to make it like, well, if you like this, you should like this. And I think that's something I learned maybe like a year or two ago, that to make it where people, when they go from one thing to the next, they don't feel like lost. They're just like, oh yeah, like this is like I have a Tumblr that does that actually does really. I have things that do really well that I did not really intend to do well, and there's things that I wish did well that don't do as well. But I try to make it where you're like, well, if you like this and you went to my YouTube, you wouldn't be too disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I really like doing different things. I mean, like, I do YouTube occasionally, and sometimes, like for me and Jason's not here right now, but he was here. He's just literally messaged me saying his sound on his computer's just died, so he can't hear or speak or do anything, which is a pain. But basically, me and him made a gaming channel, and we created 2 sets of videos. Me and him were doing a YouTube series based on Minecraft, and then I went off and did a YouTube series on the same channel based around Star Trek, because I'm a bit of a Trekkie. Let's put it there. And so I did some videos on this game called Star Trek Online. And what I've been finding is I've been asking people, I'm like, how is this doing better? The thing that I'm thinking is going to flop doing better than the thing that I thought was going to skyrocket, and then I don't understand it, and it's trying to figure out, okay, what do people like, why do people like it, and then just sort of progressing from there. So with your YouTube, do you have was it at first, when you first started, was it difficult to title your videos to get people to watch it?
Okay, so I come from doing, sketch comedy, live theater, and the titles could be a little more vague, I think. Like I use as an example, I had a video that I did live, a sketch I did live called The Letter, which is not in a very exciting title, but when I did it on YouTube, pretty much the same thing. It was called Worst Boss Ever. And one thing I learned on YouTube is being cool and subtle is not rewarded. You want to let people know what they're gonna like, kind of what they're gonna get, or at least kind of entice them without being too clickbaity. That's why the title and the thumbnail is so important. It's like, you want, just like any blog post, if a blog post was very or a news post or blog post was very vague, you'd be like, well, I don't know why I want to watch this. But if you give them something that's relatable, like Facebook in real life, you're like, oh, okay, well, I use Facebook. Yeah, what would that be in real life? But if I put like, I don't know, people are, I don't know, people in my life is like a vague thing. Like, you want to be, I learned to kind of compromise my artistic integrity, what I had, to give people something that, especially if it's something that's like a challenge video, right? That people are already searching for. Like, you just need to be really kind of creative without duping people too much. But that it's a fine line.
Yeah, I mean, when I literally read an article from Fullscreen saying, if you've got an object or something in your video, use YouTube search bar. Yeah. They've got a system on there which basically writes out the most searched item, so what people are searching for that subject. So I was typing in a number of things for my videos, and I was like, oh, that's That's what that people are searching. So then I was making a YouTube video based on what they were searching for.
Yes.
It seems to be working, I guess. I haven't really checked it, but it has worked a lot better. I mean, I guess it's a learning thing, I guess, because over time you start to learn these things, you start to pick up things, and it's not going to be successful straight away, and you shouldn't really think of YouTube as something that you're going to make money from. So you should just sit there and go, well, I'm going to make YouTube videos, but I'm going to do it this way, and this is the way I want to do it, and this is how I want to title them, and if people don't like that, then fair enough, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you whatever is going to make you want to consistently do something is better than you trying to like fake it and not want to do it for any kind of long periods of time. But, you know, there's always things you can do there's just so many people out there uploading video, and, you know, you could always do stuff to be a cut above that. Like researching keywords, seeing what people are already searching for, making a thumbnail enticing, making the title somewhat enticing. And obviously the content, you know, hopefully the content's there to back that up. But sometimes you just have to be like, listen, this is who I am, and there's only one of me, and you know, if you like me, then I'm going to give this to you, and I'm going to deliver every single week.
And one of the questions that I'm in a Facebook community on YouTube. Basically, it's a community on Facebook based around YouTube called YouTubers Generally Supporting Each Other, which is a really long title. But anyway, in the group, there was a debate going on a couple of days ago, I think. And basically, someone made a YouTube video, and they said that they didn't want to be called themselves a YouTuber because they're so small, because they're not getting like past 100 views yet. They're not calling themselves a YouTuber because that is not their job yet. Would you say that? What's your opinion basically on this matter? Would you say that someone creating videos on YouTube, doesn't matter how many subscribers they've got, is a YouTuber, or would you say that the people that are now actually earning money from YouTube and are actually supporting themselves are classed as YouTubers, and people that are just starting out shouldn't call themselves YouTubers?
Well, you know, yeah, that's something it's an interesting thing, like what you call yourself, because, you know, I live in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of people that are that consider themselves actors, but how much are they actually acting? Are they earning any money from acting? Like, are they really doing anything? Or are they just kind of calling themselves that because that's what they want to be doing? And really, like, we're talking about something that's still so new, and, you know, those titles and stuff like that are so, in the big picture, are so unimportant. Like, you know, what you call yourself and what you are, and how you kind of like define yourself. But, you know, listen, if you like, I don't know, if somebody is working very hard and diligent and consistent, and they're making YouTube videos, and they have all their like social sites around it, and then they're really constantly like working, growing, and changing, I would consider that more of a YouTuber than somebody that, like, let's just say has like a large following on YouTube, but really doesn't do anything with it anymore, or is very, very kind of fickle with it. Because it's just really like I think it's how much you're putting in really kind of defines that. But, you know, the press isn't going to, when the press talks about YouTubers or, you know, influencers or YouTube content creators, it's a little, they're going by people that are very, very successful making money. And getting a lot of having a big audience. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's okay to call yourself, you know, whatever you want to call yourself, but back it up with something. Like, don't make one video and then sit there and be like, well, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a YouTuber, or like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to basically ask you, because this was a debate that was going into basically divided the group. The group is really small. We've the guy that I had on called Brian. He basically set up the group, and he wants it really, really small. So it's a small group of people helping each other out all the time. And this was a debate question that was asked, and one of his admins basically attacked this. Well, I wouldn't say attacked. It was sort of like going against what this guy who made this YouTube video was saying, and disagreed with it. And basically that created a huge split, social divide on Facebook, and one of which I got involved in. And it was quite interesting to see other people's opinions, because I think that's another thing, is people's opinions on certain things as well that sort of changes your view of certain stuff. So if you see yourself as a YouTuber and think that you want to do YouTube, then surely you should be able to call yourself a YouTuber. But at the same time, if you're not making any money from it, my mind is saying, well, if you're not making any money from it and you're not a sheer popular YouTuber yet, and you're just sort of doing it as a hobby, then I wouldn't class yourself as a YouTuber, because I see YouTuber the same as I see podcaster, and the same way as I see acting and all that other stuff. So if you are an actor, then you are trained. You've got a form that says that you're an actor or something like that, and have done lots of different things. If you haven't got that, you're probably in films and things like that. I mean, you're an actor, aren't you?
I mean, technically, yes. I do have pay stubs, paychecks that state that. I also wanted to say I'm an executive producer, and a producer and stuff like that, just because I do a lot of different things. Yeah, I mean, I think there's there's also like aspiring actor or aspiring YouTuber or whatever it is. But like how much, if you're somebody who is doing YouTube and it's at its infancy, if you're using the word, if you're telling people, or it's a big part of your conversation that I'm a YouTuber, and you're kind of making that a part of like everything you talk about, then that's really a separate issue, because it really shouldn't be about that, because what we do is tangible, right? We could see it. We could see a podcast episode. We could see a YouTube video with numbers attached to it. We could see social sites. So, you can kind of prove your work in that sense. So I think a lot of people get hung up on it because they want to have a title. They want to call themselves something. They want to say something interesting about themselves. And I think that's part of the issue with it, is the fact that it's so important to people, like what they call themselves. That's more important than actually what they're actually doing. And for me, it's always kind of about, no, I'd rather just call myself. I'm just me, a comedian or whatever, but I can show you a lot of really amazing things other than me telling you what's the word I'm trying to think? They're trying to kind of convince themselves that they're this, and try to convince other people, instead of just like, if you do it, people will know, and then you don't need to call yourself anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the point of, my opinion is, if you want to call yourself a YouTuber, you can, but just don't go around telling everybody that you're a YouTuber when you haven't quite, there's certain points, like you can say in a community of new YouTubers that say, oh, I do YouTube too. That's all you need to say.
That's good. Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, you don't need to then go and say to the world, saying, yeah, I'm a YouTuber and I've got, one view on my video, and I'm amazing at this video, and I've got my single comment, and I really love this one person who hasn't watched any of the other stuff. That's when you're like, hang on a minute. It's sort of like my opinion kicks in a bit. I'm saying, well, I've put in all this hard work, let's say, and I feel like if I was in the shoes of like yourself and other YouTubers that are successful, and say, well, I've put in all this effort, all these years, and someone's coming along that has just started calling himself something that I call myself, and other people are then hearing this and thinking that I'm not doing as well as they think I was,
right, because
of this one person walking along. It just sort of like makes me look a little bit weird,
Yeah.
And I mean that's what the conversation was, and that really did divide the group. And obviously, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, whether they're right or wrong is their choice. There is no real right and wrong anyway.
Right.
So
yeah,
there's always someone that thinks they're there and not, or wants to be there.
Yep.
And are not. I mean, with YouTube thumbnails, do you design your own thumbnails?
There's some that I do where I just do a screen grab, and then I'll just kind of try to like do what I can. Like, I'm not really great at a lot of technical stuff. I would say it's 60-40 or 70-30 where somebody else does it for me, and then the other 30% I do it myself, just for like because I sometimes I like it to the screen grabs I have are like, ooh, I really don't want this in here. I want to focus something else, or I want to take myself out of it, which is a lot of it is removing myself from the thumbnail. But I will, as much as you could do and only have to count on yourself, the better. But there's just some things that I'm not good at, like editing sketch comedy, shooting sketch comedy, certain thumbnails. And I make sure if I put all the time into it, I was like, I might as well have it done right, than kind of shortchange it, trying to. But it's also, the more you know how to do, you can always count on yourself, and not have to rely on someone else or pay someone else or whatever it is. So it's this weird thing of kind of like knowing what knowing as much as you can do, but also realizing when there's a point where you have to hand it off to somebody else.
So how was meeting Harrison Ford?
Well, I'd have to say, meeting is a very what do you call it? Is a very loose term. I basically was standing next to him for a lot of for a portion of the day, and he not really like having much of a conversation with him, but just standing next to him and then kind of hearing the direction of like a director was I would say was enough for me, because I was like, it's Harrison Ford, you know what I mean? It's like it's Harrison Ford. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Obviously I didn't do much in that. I think those things that they get cut out or whatever, as like we're talking about the Jimmy Kimmel live sketch with Harrison Ford. And I was honestly just kind of hired just to really stand there. And there's other things I did that got cut out, like me and this woman hug each other because we were so relieved and whatever. Like things get cut out or whatever. And the fact that I was in it at all was like a kind of a surprise. And I really just did it because I was like, it's Harrison. I mean, it's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
It's very, very surreal because, Star Wars is obviously, it's coming out, so that makes everything a little more heightened for everybody. If you want to meet someone from Star Wars, the first thing everyone's going to say is Harrison Ford. First person, mostly.
Yeah. I don't know if you do you like Star Wars? Do you watch Star Wars? Are you a fan of Star Wars?
Yeah, I saw, just to let you know how old I am, I was very, very young, but I saw the original Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah, I've watched all the originals.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's so much so that I even auditioned for this film that's coming out, which is actually kind of a weird concept, because they did that competition a little while ago. I think it was a few years ago or months ago. I can't remember when. I can't remember now. But they basically did this competition where they said to fans of Star Wars, basically, come to this place. There was this massive stadium, rugby stadium, which is like a American football pitch sort of size. And they were like, we're all in a queue, and we're basically auditioning for the same role.
Yeah.
And now seeing the advertisements for this film, now I'm seeing the part I was auditioning for, and I was like, this is pretty cool, because I had the script in my hands.
Yes, you're part of it. You're invested
of what that was. So now I'm like, go and watch it and go, I could have been, even though I'm not part of it, even though I'm not there, I still have that in my mind, that memory of me saying, I tried for that and didn't get anywhere, but I tried, and that will always stay with me. And
that makes you a little more endeared to it, more than you would be. Like, obviously, you're endeared to it anyway because it's Star Wars, but you're more endeared to it because you're actively involved in it. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm no actor. Let's just get that straight.
I say that every single day. So
I've done no acting classes at all. I've got a friend. When I was in my college, I had a friend called Jack Jahson, and he was basically a guy who he was in auditions for things. He played roles in Shakespeare, and he was at all sorts of different stages all over the county that we are in. Right. And he was basically a high-flying actor. He knew some people from Game of Thrones personally, and I was sort of like, he's done all the acting stuff, and then it's me going, I'm going to audition to Star Wars movie, and And he goes, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah, you've got about what 3 days to teach me everything you know." And he goes, "Are you serious?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's going to be exciting for everybody.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've just seen the new advert. Have you seen the new advert coming out?
I haven't. I still need to watch that.
Yeah. I basically started watching a little bit, and then it sort of kind of, went, and I was like, my PC basically crashed a little bit, and I was like, no. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, what about Battlefront? Do you play any video games?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. The only one that I play. And I play online with other people. I don't play the actual the game itself.
Are you a PlayStation or are you an Xbox?
PlayStation.
Yeah, that was a bit quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
PS4 or PS3.
I have a PS3, but I'm getting the PS4 specifically, just for Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, I've got Grand Theft Auto 5, and I've got it on PS3, and I play it online.
What level are you?
What rank? I'm like level 14, 15. I keep dying. Okay. People keep killing me, and it's really annoying. It makes me cry.
You gotta get a crew. You gotta get part of a crew.
I mean, I've got the IGN crew, but they don't do anything. They're just sort of like, oh, there's someone else running along, and they shoot me all the time. No, I mean, I like trying to get the helicopters and things, and the airport is always a bloodbath.
The airport is always like, there's always some kind of action up at the airport, and then when the cops, they show up, and it's always chaos up there. Like I think right now I'm not. I play frequently, but I don't really rank up. But I'm like maybe like an 85. So not too bad, and but because you need the higher rank to get the better weapons.
Yeah,
so
I mean
that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've just figured out the other day, I don't play it as much as I used to, but I figured out the other day that you can actually open up the online map, but play it as yourself, like on your own.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's one way I can level up without dying. And I mean, like, I didn't have any money. I never had any money, so I never had any weapons, because I couldn't buy any weapons. And so I'm like, I've got no cars, no vehicles, no nothing, and I'm just sat there, I'm like, I can't afford to pay for the car that's broken or the garage or anything like that. And I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, I really don't like this. So I was like quitting the game. And then
what you could do is, I think you can do like survivals, and if you play those survivals, I think if you get weapons there, you could keep some of them.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there was one that I was playing the other day where you had to get in the cars, and there was like this ramp. I think someone had created it, but basically you're in the desert. There's this like runway sort of thing. They basically had created this whole ramp that goes up, and then there's these containers everywhere, and they had miniguns everywhere. There was minigun. It was just minigun central, and you had to get to the top to get the minigun to shoot everybody, and you were like one team against the other, and then they had like these armored RVs, and you had these like sports cars, and you had to try and get up there, and that was the best game I've ever had, and the most fun I've ever had. In Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Getting them all mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a good fan of Call of Duty. Do you play Call of Duty?
I don't know.
No, I'm not a big fan. I mean, I was talking to some friends of mine that I had in college. They were in a games development course, and they were obsessed with Call of Duty, and this new game came out, and they were like, it's not as great as you think it is. Everybody, all this big hype, they go, yeah, the storyline is you can complete it in a day. And I'm thinking, that's not great. He goes, but the online mode is pretty awesome, but the campaign is really, really short, and people are complaining that the campaign story stuff isn't fleshed out enough. And I mean, you're going to get that with some games, aren't you? Great talking to you. I mean, there is a lot that we could continue talking about.
Sure.
Like your improv, how you got started with improv, and
we'll
other
do a
things.
part 2.
Yeah, let's do a part 2 later on. I mean, I've got a few more episodes to go until the end of this season, and then next year, because I work around my university, so while I'm studying at university, I'm doing a podcast and focusing all my attention on it. And during the summer months, which is really, really long. I mean, I finished in May and don't go back until October, so it's a huge part of time that is filled with nothing. So I do YouTube in that period of time.
Great.
Yeah. So anyway, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm
No, thanks
sorry
for having
about
me.
Jason dying off because his PC's broken.
Yeah.
And
Next time.
next time. Hopefully he will be on next time, and everything will be repaired because he lives in Mozambique. So
Okay.
internet and connections aren't exactly great, and it really lets him down. And he's really disappointed. He's messaging me. He's messaging me going, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, well,
Next time.
yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for this.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with your channel, and I hope you do whatever you want to do later on as well. So, yeah.
I hope so too. Thanks so much. Let me know when this is out.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hi, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this one, you can click that annotation up there. That will take you to the latest and last video from my channel. And also, there is a podcast that you can download where I talk to awesome people with my co-host Jason Binder. You can go and click on that annotation down there. That will take you to the iTunes store where you can download it and subscribe to our channel there. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can do by clicking that big red subscribe button down there. Every subscription is appreciated. And of course, leave a comment and message us. I will get back to you. I might even create a video response just to you. So please do that. It's really awesome to hear from you. So thank you very much for subscribing and watching this video. Enjoy. Bye bye.